Hi, I'm Vilkan and today I will be testing and reviewing Sony ZV E10, which I bought to use as my big cam. I already shot a test clip with this camera, so go check it out first and then I will tell you my perspective, why I bought this camera, give you some pros and cons and test the image stabilization. So let me share with you my first impressions after making this clip. Half of the shots in the clip were handheld and other half on a small tripod. I was adjusting camera settings and my wife was recording me. I didn't use in-camera active state, only catalyst brolls in a couple of shots, but I will talk more about stabilization later. I shot with S-Log3, 4K 25p and HD 100p, and from first tests I know that I will not be using HD on this camera often. It's too soft compared to 4K, which on the contrary is nice and sharp. Even though it's still an 8-bit codec, it's more than enough for shooting behind-the-scenes videos, dance clips, b-rolls and vlogs. I plan to make some tests to check if I can match it with my main camera, Pocket 6K, to use as a big cam for some quick action shots. Main reason why I wanted to buy a new camera was to replace my good old A6000 to record behind-the-scenes videos. HD from A6000 compared to Pocket 6K was too much of a difference even for something like behind the scenes. The A6000 also didn't have a mic port, which I needed to record better sound from set. Let me tell you some features that I wanted from new camera. Good 4K, decent battery life, it had to be simple to use so my wife can easily operate it. So it also had to have a good autofocus and good auto exposure. Decent audio with mic port, log profile so I can get more dynamic range. Good price, I didn't want to spend too much for that big cam. No record limit and no overheating, so I can also record my longer dance trainings without any worries, and it also needs to be a good photo camera too. To be honest, I didn't want to buy ZV E10, mainly because of that old sensor that can shoot only 8-bit 420. I was considering a second-hand Fujifilm X-T3 because it has 10-bit 420 and 4K 60p, but things like poor battery life, mediocre AF and record limit were deal breakers to me. I already had a lens, adapter and other accessories for E-mount, so it was also a point for Sony. What sold me the most was that it's the best overall package in this price range for what I was looking for. I never tried to do a walk and talk vlogs, but it's a camera aimed especially for vloggers, so I felt obligated to do that test. Vlogging test Sigma 16, no image stabilization in camera, shutter speed priority set to 100, internal microphone. Vlogging test Sigma 16 1.4, active image stabilization on, same settings as previous, internal microphone. No stabilization in camera, shutter set to 100. Let's compare Catalyst Brolls versus DaVinci Resolve stabilization. From what I found with both Catalyst Brolls and Active State is that you get better results with higher shutter speed because there is less motion blur. 1/100 is minimal in my opinion. I will probably not use Active State, but only Catalyst Brolls, which can give a very nice results. Even though the sensor is not new, the camera still has very good sharp 4K, and with S-Log3 dynamic range is also very nice. I like the design of the camera, which is more focused on video than previous models, so layout and ergonomics are more practical for me. For example, on A6000, record button was placed very badly, and now it's a big button on top. I don't miss EVF because I never use them. Better mic with that small dead cut is a nice addition too. Very useful for me when I'm recording dance trainings and don't want to carry an additional microphone. Autofocus is very good, so even if I'm recording myself dancing, it works great. This model saves gyro data for stabilizing in post, which can be very useful. It gives more control on how much I want to crop compared to internal active state. This power zoom button is very nice addition too, so even with prime lenses and clear image zoom, it can be useful sometimes. I also like that there is a lot of picture profiles in this camera, so I can play with that. And finally, it's a very good value for the price. As I mentioned before, I don't like 8-bit codec. I like to play with color grading, so compared to Blackmagic RAW, from my pocket, it's a huge difference. You have to make more effort to get good results from Sony, but if you know what you're doing, you can still get great images from this camera. What may surprise you is that I'm not a big fan of flip-out screens. I know vloggers love them, but it can be annoying for me. For example, when I'm shooting with a strap, it covers half of the screen. But of course, it also has some benefits. Active image stabilization has too much crop, so I will probably not use it, especially because it doesn't give great results. Rolling shutter is not good, but not as bad I was expecting. I feel that I also need to buy a cage for this camera. I'm used to fully rigged Pocket 6K, so ZV E10 feels too light for me, which for other people is probably an advantage, especially for vloggers. So can I recommend this camera? It all depends what you plan to use it for. For me, it was the best deal. It surely is a great option for those who want a fun and simple to use camera for filming themselves without spending too much money. At a similar price point, there are other options for vloggers like ZV-1, so if you are okay with one internal lens, then you can consider that. It also has built-in ND filters, which is great. ZV E10 on the other hand gives you more potential to grow with interchangeable lens mount and bigger sensor. That's all I got for you today. I hope you find it useful. If so, then like, subscribe, and see you next time.